Hey everybody, welcome to my little race recap of yesterday's Suisun Harbor Crit in Cat 4-5 race. You see the start was pretty rough. There was a guy like not clipping perfectly into his pedal and almost crashed. So then we like went right from the gun. It was a pretty quick start. The course is super short, so the corners are super narrow, and once you're going pretty fast, it gets pretty narrow up there. The field was 50 people and was mixed cat 4-5, and on such a like short loop, this means that we're gonna lap a lot of riders, which made it even more dangerous, which I didn't quite like. And they also like reinserted the guys back at a point where they had to go like on the inside line into one of those corners, which was super sketchy at some point, but you'll see that later. So this is like the first lap. Sorry that I missed like putting up a label for the lap numbers, but I'm gonna try to like tell you during this. This is my first time doing such a recap, but I always love looking at these videos, so maybe you find this helpful too. So I'm gonna switch a little forward now. This is where you see like some riders are going up the road, and those two Dolce Vita guys are like kind of holding it up, so I thought maybe they have like some teammate up in these riders going, but they really didn't, and so this was kind of weird. But then luckily there was this guy in yellow or green who decided this is not the time to be like not in this move, which was like at least 10 people up there. So once he saw that this is like a gap and we need to be in that move, he decided to also go there, and I was quite lucky to sit on his wheel. So you can see I needed to like go a little deep, like into the 600 watts to follow his wheel, but I kind of made it back to his wheel, which was good because at that point the field already like split it into pieces, and I'm glad that I like could stay in this front group. I think at that point in the race there was already like a group or like two riders up on the road. And they were already chasing behind like those 10 guys, but I'm not quite sure. So we made it back into this like 10-15 people group, and here you can see like how sketchy this sometimes is. Like this rider in white, he's like right on the inside on the apex where we had to go through, and this rider on the left, he like hit one of those cones and almost got into my front wheel. So this is one of these sketchy situations which I was talking about, when you have like these lapped riders, like the next one coming up here in orange. They go right on the inside, they don't hold their lines, they're like much slower than we are going, and this is what made it so dangerous and unnecessarily dangerous, obviously. So I was kind of pissed about like that amount of riders that got reinserted and did not know how to like behave in that situation. So we were like quite happy in that group of 10-15 people chasing down those two guys up front, when this guy of San Jose in the blue bike decided to make a move, and I kind of didn't want to miss a move, so maybe he would like bridge over those 20 seconds. So I stayed on this wheel without going too deep. He was giving a good draft, so I just stayed there, and then also did a little bit of work like in the 400 watts. Not too much of an effort, I guess. Like the guys are still behind us, and this was like the tailwind straight, so I was not going super deep. And then once we hit that like headwind straight, I passed. I got into the draft of this guy, and then I guess like already the other guys, yeah, he passed me again, and we were like back together. And there everybody was just kind of like starting to sit up a little and not really working hard. So I was like shouting at these guys if you should put like a little more work into it. We were not going super fast, and the gap to the front increased, and it was like kind of like only like 10-15 minutes left into the race. But other than that, it was like a nice group of like 10 people chasing back. Maybe like only one rider left up the road who had like a 20-second gap, and so I decided that I wanted to like go a little faster. Started working on that tailwind straight, and because I saw a lot of riders that were gonna lap on this this straight, I wanted to be on the front, because if you have to go through like what you're seeing right now, like 3, 4, 5 people on the street that you have to like kind of maneuver through, I didn't want to be like with 10 people ahead of me, so I decided it would be safest to be up front and doing this on my own. Like you see right now, we have like 4 riders to lap and go through a corner to pass them. Yeah, that was not nice about this race. There's this guy again that we had to lap. I guess some of them I lapped like 4 or 5 times, which is super unnecessarily dangerous. And yeah, then it continued to like chase the guy that was still like 15-20 seconds ahead of us. We were kind of like doing everybody his pulls, so it was kind of a good working group. There's the San Jose guy again. Yeah, and we were like still like 10-15 people, everybody together, kind of going fast, until like this is maybe like 5 laps to go, when I was kind of like unhappy with my position, because I'm like 15 riders down and it was going like into maybe like 4 or 5 laps to go. But I was pretty lucky with the guy in front of me, who right now decided that it is time to go. And I don't know why I went so deep, but to follow his wheel I had to go like into the 1000 watts, so this is like my max power to follow his wheel. And we actually got a pretty decent gap on those 10-15 riders behind us, and we closed the gap to the one guy in front from like 20 seconds down to 5 or 6 seconds. So that was an impressively like strong pull from the Los Gatos guy there in front of me. And I barely hung onto his wheel, so I'm like at 185 BPM. I'm totally at my limit. This is the end of the race. I don't know where he got the power to do that, but it was super strong. And so we were like place 2 and 3 right now, 3 laps to go. Maybe I should have committed a little bit more to that group, but I was not quite sure, so I was just like about to follow his wheel, and honestly I was totally at my limit, so I couldn't do a lot. So when he right now fixed his elbow to signal me that I should do some work, I really wanted to, but I just couldn't. I was totally at my limit, so I needed a few breaths. Then I took over, and I kind of like did not take that corner well, went a little bit too far to the outside line, and then started working. But I think the guys already like were pretty much back to our wheels, but you can see now the guy in black, that's the race leader. So right now we have like only like 3 seconds or something left. So yeah, this was pretty narrow at this point. It was like 2 laps to go now, or maybe this is already last lap, or maybe 2 laps to go. So I did my pull, and then the like 5-6 guys caught us back. There's the Los Gatos guy again, and they're out. So I was just like trying to stay there where I am, and this is now going into the last lap, so we go around the corner and then it's gonna be the last lap. So we were like 7-8 guys at this point, and we had only like 10 meters to chase that guy back down. But yeah, as you will see, we didn't make it. He stayed up front, although it was like so close at this point, and we weren't really sitting up. So on the next corner I get the inside line, which was good. I was moving up a little, and I had that draft of that guy in white who now started his move. He was right going to the front, and you can see my power didn't like really shoot up. I was like in the 400 watts, so he gave a really good draft, and I could sit there without investing too much of energy. And so he was now place 2, I was position 3. Going into this corner, I go past him, and I'm starting my sprint and like going as hard as I can, and I see this guy up front, which is the winner of this race, and I go as deep as I can, but like there's nothing left in my legs, so I'm like maxing out at 600-700 watts in my sprint, which is enough to secure like the first out of the bunch sprint. But yeah, this guy in front, he stayed there and made it.